I think the backbone of everything really was the meditation, the visualization, tuning into my intuition. However, you could sit all day and do that, but if you don't actually take action, nothing's going to happen. Because what my intuition told me was that the major surgery they wanted to do with not a very high success rate and a very long recovery with no guarantee I would be able to work, I knew that wasn't right. And so my visualization and my meditation was, I know that there is a treatment out there for me.
It was such a game changer to feel like I have my own. One of the things that helped me realize I have my own power, where all before I was thinking I was powerless, like behind the drums, not being, fully expressive. I had tools now and technique.
Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you, Dr. Gayle. And you did such a great job of getting my name right. I know it's a hard one. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
You're welcome. I had to think about angelic.
Okay.
Is how you are. So welcome.
Well, I will try my best to live up to that.
Tell us about your healing journey and the wisdom that you gained that led you to become a life coach.
Oh, yes. My healing journey. It still goes on. Let's see. I'm going to take you back to October of 2020.
Okay.
And at that point in time, I was working full-time as a nurse. I had started researching and looking into a life coaching program, but I had kind of put it on the back burner. Everything in my life seemed to be in order. And then on the morning of October 17th, my boyfriend and I decided to go for a run, and we were going to run up to a coffee shop that we liked. It was just going to be a really relaxing Sunday run. And during that time, I was sort of coming down a hill and I was running full force. And I hit the sidewalk. It was uneven, and I tripped, and I crashed down really, really hard. I landed pretty much on the left side of my body. So I went home. I thought, okay, I'm okay. And then the next day, I woke up to severe back pain that just got worse and worse by the day. It's hard to think back, and it's hard to talk about, to be really transparent, because it was probably the darkest time in my life. I went to the doctor. They told me that I was bone on bone, L5S1, and that the nerve was being compressed. There was bone spurs. I mean, the list went on, and that it would require a pretty intensive surgery to heal, which was not what I was expecting.
Your life is like full bore and everything's going really well. And then in one moment, it changes. And
Yes.
Here you are.
Yes. And it got worse because I opted to have a steroid injection, which many people do. I think I did an oral course of steroids first. That didn't really work. They decided to do an injection, did that, got temporary relief. It came back at the same time. My boyfriend broke up with me. My car got broken into. My wallet got stolen. My son left for the military. It just was one of those times where you feel like things are just spiraling down, and back pain didn't help. So when it started, again, I had a pretty positive attitude because I had overcome back pain in a similar way prior, which was in 2018. And to the point that I was at my worst in about February of 2018. And a friend called me and said, "Hey, I just put your name on my pass to climb Mount Whitney with me in August." And I'm like, "I can't even climb up the stairs. What are you talking about?" But she said, "Well, figure it out." And that actually was really inspiring to me. I was able to find a really good physical therapist, again, do all of my holistic practices, and somehow worked my way out. So I did climb Whitney in 2018. And so the combination of being able to remember that I was in severe pain and I was able to overcome it just made it it kept me really positive until all of those things that I had done before weren't working. And in fact, things were getting worse. And I ended up having to go off of work, which to me is very depressing, not to be able to work, not to be able to be around, my friends or feel productive. So that didn't help. And every doctor that I went to 3 different surgeons, they all recommended surgery. And this was the point in time where I really had to dig deep and find other means of managing this pain. As you probably know, medications only do so much, and most of the time they actually don't really help. They just make your brain foggy. So I took a course on building your intuition. I took a course on meditation. I went back to all of my practices, which I have a long list that I'm happy to share if you feel like that would be helpful. But when I did the course on intuition, what kept coming up for me is that surgery they wanted to do was not the answer. And that was something that I really tried to hold on to. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was not able to hold on to that every single day. And my close friends will attest to the times where I called and I would be on the phone and I would be really positive one day. And then the next day it was like, nope, I'm done. I'm calling. I'm having the surgery. I'm over it.
It's a test. That was a huge test. And it went on for quite a while.
It did. It went on for 14 months.
But you kept tuning into your inner wisdom. Even though there was a roller coaster, that was your sustenance, was that inner wisdom and intuition of knowing, like, this really isn't right for me. And that, as a healthcare professional, is almost a double challenge, because you have the science, right? And then you have your intuition that's telling you about your body and what's right and what isn't. I was reflecting on your journey, and as healthcare professionals, we're trained to take care of other people. We're trained to override our needs and listen to our bodies, almost to the point being a badge of honor. And so there's that ingrained ignoring until it's so loud that you cannot ignore it. It's not just healthcare professionals, it's parents, it's pilots, it's military, it's farmers, business owners, you just keep going.
The one thing that did help me is, as a labor and delivery nurse, I have a huge tool bag of tools for my patients. So they come in and they're dealing with pain. And so I actually had to use a lot of those things on myself.
So tell us about that. That's brilliant.
I think the backbone of everything really was the meditation, the visualization, tuning into my intuition. However, you could sit all day and do that. But if you don't actually take action, nothing's going to happen. Because what my intuition told me was that the major surgery they wanted to do, with not a very high success rate and a very long recovery with no guarantee I would be able to work, I knew that wasn't right. And so my visualization and my meditation was, I know that there is a treatment out there for me. I know that it is a short, possibly outpatient procedure that is going to give me immediate and long-lasting pain relief. And it is coming to me. It's there. It's coming to me. And I just kept reinforcing that. I had a whole little script that I tried to say whenever I felt like, okay, I just want to give up. I would just go back to that script. I knew with every step, I just felt like I was getting closer. And let me tell you, 14 months, it was hard. Like, I wanted to give up so many times. And when it finally came to me, it was a nerve ablation. And I thought, this is it. It's an outpatient procedure. I'm going to get instant relief. It hopefully will be long lasting. This is what I've been asking for. And then I got the news. So I was all signed up. And then I got the news that my insurance wasn't going to cover it. So I forgot to put that out into the universe, that it was covered by insurance.
Be specific, right?
Yes. So, which was interesting. So it was several $1,000s. And that was the time where I really had to test my intuition and be like, I had to say to myself, is this really, this is what you've asked for, and here it is. How much do you trust what you have been asking for and what you have felt intuitively? I came to the conclusion that yes, that was going to be something that I at least needed to try. And if it wasn't the answer, it was at least going to give me, everything gave me information, right? If it didn't work, it was still going to be useful information. And I felt like it again would bring me one step closer to what the answer was going to be for me.
Well, you bring a really great point up that we can visualize, and visualizing is extremely important because it is messaging to the body on a neurological level, cellular level, obviously spiritual, emotional, mental, all of it. But we live in these physical bodies.
Mhm.
I talk so much throughout the podcast of how we're spiritual beings having a human experience to learn, grow, and gain wisdom. And we have these physical bodies, and we're not the physical body. We're not the body's condition, and we're not our experiences. We're much greater than that, but we're having these experiences, and we have these amazing bodies that we have to take care of, right? We're talking about override, take care. And
Yes.
so that's such a beautiful demonstration of using both, the inner and the outer, and really taking care of the physical body and whatever your body needs. And your body needed that specific procedure that you did find.
Everyone is
Right.
walking their own journey, and we need
Yes.
to just be okay with whatever our bodies are telling us that we need. It's just getting in touch with that.
Absolutely. Tell us the outcome of that.
A little backstory. So I had to have 2 procedures done where they do an injection under fluoroscopy so they know if you're going to respond, which I did have a good response from. And after the second one of those, my pain relief only lasted about 24, maybe 48 hours. And I was not scheduled to have the actual ablation done until a week later. And I reached my breaking point. I called December 1st of 2021, and I wanted to die. I've never said those words before, but I'm going to get emotional. But that day, I thought, I can't do this. I can't. I'm done. I cannot wait another week. I can't wait another minute. And I actually felt scared. And so I called the doctor's office. They were amazing. And I just told them how I was feeling. And I said, I don't know what to do. I can't get out of my house. By some grace, they had a cancellation that afternoon. And she said, if you can get here, we'll do the procedure right now. That's really what you need. And I called an Uber. I have no idea how I got from my house down a flight of stairs out the door. I remember crawling in the back of the Uber on my hands and knees. The guy was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Nope." I just get me to the hospital. Fortunately, I only live a couple miles from the hospital. And I got there, and the rest is kind of a blur. I know they came and helped me get out of the car. I wasn't able to have anesthesia, which I did also ask for some type of a discount. I was sort of asking the universe, like, this is a lot of money. Maybe there's a discount out there for me. And then they called after and said, yeah, for some reason, your procedure is $1,200 less. I'm like, yeah, it's because I didn't have anesthesia, but I didn't really care because it hurt. I again was at my breaking point. So they did the procedure. Besides being a little bit sore where the needles went in for a couple of days, I did have relief. And so that was December 1st of 2021. And I have had, a day or two here or there where I wake up and my back's a little off, but nothing like I had prior to that.
All right. Thank you so much. What a pleasure. And I know that people will benefit greatly as they listen to you and listen to your story.
Oh, thank you so much.
And today, my special guest is Julia Harrell. Julia is a clairvoyant and spiritual guide who helps highly sensitive people, empaths, and intuitives to overcome their sensitivities, heal themselves, and thrive. She studied clairvoyance for the past 30 years. And since 2008, she has guided thousands of students through professional readings, healings, and teachings. She now witnesses miracles weekly as her students wake up to who they truly are and begin to understand their purpose. I met Julia in 2006. We've studied with the late Michael Tamura and have been in his advanced meditation community since 2006. So here we are, 20 years later or so, and we meditate every day. Before we get into being a spiritual teacher and clairvoyant teacher,
let's talk about meditating every day and what it means to us and why we do it. So, why do you meditate every day?
When I started the clairvoyant training back in late 90s, it was such a game changer to feel like I have my own. One of the things that helped me realize I have my own power, where all before I was thinking I was powerless, like behind the drums, not being, fully expressive. Um, I had tools now and technique. And before it was just kind of amorphous. It felt like do this meditation. And back then, again, you guys, it's before you had an app. So you had to read a book and so a line here, a line there. Okay. Okay. Do this. Okay. Okay. Do this. Okay. So that's how it started. But through the techniques and stuff, which is fun and easy, I learned that I can change my surroundings. I can change my approach to life. If I felt less than before, I can feel more powerful. And the grounding and so forth can be used to projects for all sorts of things.
And so, one of the things that I found to be extremely effective and why I meditate every day is because it helps me to clear, just the filters and the whatever has been a stressor of any kind. So stress drops, I'm calmer, and I have more clarity. And for me, one of the biggest gifts was to be able to distinguish my energy from other people's, because, as a doctor, in serving people and working with people and people who have had trauma or in trauma and in pretty severe conditions, to be able to distinguish that was really healing for me. And I'll give you a quick example, because I know that's part of your gift, is working with sensitives. Because we're all picking up on it. It's just a matter of what do you do with it and how does it affect you? So the other day we were out shopping and we were in a kitchen store, and the woman who was helping us was really cranky. She just was having a bad day, and they were having a sale, so the place was packed. And I was asking questions, and she was just like exasperated with me. And so I left and I said to my husband, wow, she was really cranky. I could feel myself getting cranky. And then I was like, wait a minute. So I sat down and I said, okay, I don't need to take her energy on, and I don't need to be cranky. And so I let it go, because I realized, maybe she's not feeling well. Maybe she's just having a bad day, or somebody she knows is sick and she's got something going on that she's overwhelmed. And she just wasn't real patient with me. But I don't have to shift from having a nice Sunday to having a cranky afternoon. And so that's one of the gifts for me, is to be able to really shift gears, like you said, pretty fast.
I had a similar thing happen just recently. So many things happen on a plane, it seems like, for me. But I was coming back, I was headed back home, and I'm excited to get back home. I've been gone a while and ready to go. I always ground my trip, and I get on the plane. I'm excited. We're getting ready for the takeoff. And I love the takeoff because it feels like a roller coaster where you get smushed back. Like, that's my favorite part. So I'm excited. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, this wave of anxiety, fear, just washed over me. And I'm like, whoa, it was undeniable. I've always been really sensitive. That's one of the clairs' abilities to sense energy. But even though I had tools, I was kind of blown away by that, all this wave of fear. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not afraid of the takeoff. That's my favorite part. And then I thought, well, is the plane going down? No, I don't think so. And then I check in, is this my fear or is it someone else's? Oh, it's someone else's. And then I kind of tune in. Oh, it's this lady's right here. She's afraid of flying, and she's whatever she's going through. And so using these tools, I was able to just clear it out in like no time. Now, that takes practice, but I was really amazed by how powerful that wave of anxiety was. And even though I have tools and I kind of pull my energy in on a plane and stuff, but yeah, you can shift it in a minute too. That's a big part I like to help people with now, highly sensitive people, empaths, intuitives, where we accidentally pick up energy around us. Sometimes because we're curious, like how many of us are magnets for somebody in distress? You obviously are as a doctor. But I would
Yes.
experience that even in grad school, in music school. The person with trauma drama would show up.
We're healers because we are here to serve. And I love watching people heal. I just love it. I mean, that's my joy in life, is watching people heal. And so for me, when I started teaching these tools and the grounding, watching people ground for the first time and watching them really, it's so experiential. Did you think about grounding? You think about walking outside, or, do you put your feet on the ground, or no, this is a different type of grounding. And it's an energetic grounding for the whole body and an energy field to the center of the planet. And it works as an anchoring and an energy processor, which is really helpful. And when they ground for the first time, it's just like, oh, and they're home. They're home in themselves, in their home, and it's like it's safe. And that to me is just one of the biggest gifts that we share in what we do. And so my experience with that, I've had so many, but one of the experiences was going to New York, because I had to go to New York to see a dentist, a special dentist. And that was anxiety producing enough. But then I had to go to New York to do it. And I was like, I have to go to New York. And New York, I always vibrate when I go to New York. It's like, it's so intense. But I knew how to ground. And when I got there, I was like, oh, this is different. And I had the most magical time. And every time I've been, it's been really magical. Because what happens when people are around someone who's centered and calm is that they start to calm down, right? So the lady next to you on the plane got to have a nice calming moment. What's one thing you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Be yourself, to tune in and see and know truth for yourself. We get carried away with that person on TV says I should be like this. The advertisement for marketing products says I need to be like this. The teacher said I need to be like this. I would say be yourself. Tune in, see and know who you really are.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that. So thank you for being here and being who you are in the world. And so where can people find you?
JuliaHarrell.com. I'm on all the socials, Julia Harrell Spiritual Guide. So you can find my reels. I had little teaching vignettes on the reels on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all that. And there's a free class on my website for sensitive folks. So come try it out.
Okay. Well, thank you. And all that will be in the show notes. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to work with me for more insight, go to my website and book a private session. And check out my latest transformational meditation. Have a blessed day.